Here we go. Here we go. So here's a picture of me with attitude. I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see that. Um, so here's the thing. This is called the 100K Growth Level Up presentation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through this one because here's the thing. There's a lot of information in this little micro uh, document here to do with growth. And I thought actually it was probably a good thing to base this masterclass off the back of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive in. First of all, there are some fixed rules, a set of fixed rules for quantum leaping any type of business on the planet to its next level. And these are well-known kind of steps that you need to take. But there are a few of them which aren't readily known out there. In fact, it tends to be that the people at the top of the tree, the people who are earning seven, eight, nine figures, tend to keep this information to themselves, and they would lead you to believe that it is all to do with frameworks and structures and the strategy. Strategy is really important, but and some of the frameworks and the structures, but they would imply that it is just these things that you need to accelerate the growth of a business. And what I have found to be true, having built many businesses of my own over 30 years, but also of coaching hundreds of women around the world to grow their businesses in different sectors and different industries. What I found to be true is that a lot of the time it's the softer skills that maybe traditional business wouldn't have spoken about because they either thought it was like too woo-woo or too fluffy or too feminine. There we go. I'm just going to drop that one in there. But the thing is that a lot of these softer skills are what is needed within a business. In fact, you need the flow, and you also need the riverbanks. And I use this analogy a lot in terms of the masculine and the feminine. So the riverbanks represent the masculine, the structures and everything that you need in business, and the river itself is the creative flow, is the intuition, is the more feminine. Now, we're not talking about female and male here. We're talking about masculine and feminine energies, and we have both of them in each of us, whether we're male or female. All right. Okay. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I did start. What am I going to do? I'm going to pull myself back here. So let's dive in. And the reason I called this one the 100K plus level up, and I wanted to sort of point this out, is because all over the internet it's like, oh, make 100K in a month, and. And the thing is that, yeah, it gets a bit ridiculous after a while, because if you put like 100K down on something, people are like, oh, really? That doesn't like me. If I want like a million, or I want 5 million or 10 million, billion, gazillion, the 100K is sexy if you haven't got there yet, and it's very sexy if you're still in the six figures. And most of the clients that I work with are either trying to break into that 100K mark, or they are in the 100K and they want to actually get multiple 100K. So we're talking like 500 to a million. So that's why it doesn't sound particularly sexy. However, when it is grounded in reality, and I'm really one for, if you've known me for some time, you know that one of the things that sets me apart is that I'm real and raw. I'm grounded. Look, I'm wearing my t-shirt today. I got my cut-off jeans on. I Listen, I've been doing this for 30 odd years. I don't need to be on a yacht somewhere in the Bahamas to know that I know my stuff when it comes to growing businesses. Here's the thing though, is that this 100K, it's based on one of my first businesses, which was a seven-figure agency that I ran. And this was a proven technique that we used to grow the business year on year, doubling the turnover year on year and year to reach the seven figures. And that is the basis really of everything that I teach and have taught from then on. So that was like, nearly 30 years ago now. So the principles remain the same, and I have used these principles in each of the businesses that I have grown, and I've also used these principles and then built upon it with the persona work that I do. The last 9 years is where the persona marketing method came in. Right, okay, let's move on, because that's enough about me. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. So The first rule of growth is that you need clarity. Now, it is, as I said here, people throw around the word clarity as if it's like fluffy and it's like but the thing is, it is actually essential for business growth. And it is something that the top leaders and founders absolutely know to be true. Is because if you don't have clarity, in any part of your business, you are going to be spinning your wheels, you're going to be second guessing yourself, you're going to be reacting to things that come up in your business. And that means you're not in growth mode and you will start to kind of spiral downwards. And when I work with women, they tend to come to me with a marketing problem. It's like I've got a marketing problem, Heather. I can't attract the right customers, or I need more customers. I need to get into growth. I want to go up a level. I feel like there's this glass ceiling stopping me, and it's all about business and the marketing, and there's got to be something that we can just fix. And here's the thing, is a lot of the time underpinning of the reason why their marketing is not working, the reason why their business is not growing, is the fact that they've got like this knock-on effect going on, which is they've lost clarity. And that is probably caused by something has happened to distract them. And again, many of the women that I work with resonate with my backstory of having to change and pivot businesses through personal circumstances. So the fact that I went through I had young children, so I had a business that adapted around them. I was a single mum for 8 years. I went through the divorce, and I kind of a single mum for 8 years. Then the illness struck, so I had to then it's like change business dynamics there. Oh, bereavement as well, that knocked me off track. So life and business are never in isolation, and this is why it's so important to recognize that sometimes things can knock us off track. And what happens is we get distracted by something, or we take our eye off the ball of our business, and then when we come back to it, things have shifted and changed. Either things have like ooh, lessened down, they dampen down, that's the word I was looking for, dampen down. And or what will happen is typically a the owner will get distracted, the clarity will start to go. Then they start to dabble in different things. So they will change a piece of their marketing, and then a domino effect happens where one piece of their marketing then knocks on to the effect of another area of their marketing, and so on and so on and so on. And then before they know it, you kind of look at your business and you think, oh God, it does not resemble what I had over here. And that's the thing. And that's really painful, because if you've built a business and it's been working really well, and then something changes or you change something, it is so difficult to try and retrack and find out what you changed and whatever. And so this is very much an alignment process as well. But the clarity is the first thing to go. And then what actually happens is the certainty goes. So you start second guessing yourself, you start doubting yourself. It's like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? Am I cut out for doing this? Am I still meant to be running this type of business? So all of these doubts creep in. If you have a team as well, it can get even more compounded in terms of that lack of certainty, because your team will be coming to you asking for direction, and because you haven't got the clarity and then the certainty goes, it's like, oh my God, you then feel like an imposter. I've had a few women that I've worked with who've openly admitted to me, Heather, I don't feel as if I should be running this business at this level anymore. It's like, wow, maybe it's too much of a stretch for me. And we work through that, and they go on to create more and more and more income, which is fantastic. The third piece of the puzzle is confidence, because if you lose your clarity and it has a knock-on effect to your certainty, what's the next thing to go is, as I said, is your confidence. And so that's and then this is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you have less confidence, your clarity sort of gets affected again. You get that stinky thinking mindset where you start to spiral down. In fact, I was speaking earlier to someone about one of my clients about the Scale of Consciousness by David R. Hawkins. Hawkins, I think his name is. I've got the book on my bookshelf. Where's it gone? I can't think of it. Hawkins. Yeah, Hawkins. There we go. Power versus Force up here. You can't see it. It's up here. Um, Power versus the scale of consciousness, it is the vibrational frequency. And what tends to happen in businesses, if you once you lose those three things, as the clarity, the certainty, the confidence, you start spiraling downwards. And believe me, once you spiral, it can be quite difficult to actually get back and spiral back up again into a higher frequency. Not impossible, but you really have to double down on your mindset and the emotional work and mindset work and raise your vibe in terms of getting more energy into your body and into your psyche. Um, so there we go. So they're that's rule one is that if you are knocked off track, it's going to affect those three things. And so it's really important to recognize that because unless you have the clarity there, you're not really going to you're going to find it difficult to grow. Rule two. Identity sets the ceiling, okay, for your income, your offers, your brand voice. They can only stretch as far as you do. This is about next level identity for next level growth. So we all wear different hats, don't we, in terms of identity. And women in particular have, I find, have more identities to wear. They can be mothers, they can be wives, they can be partners, they can be business associates, they can be, oh, you name it. We kind of, there's a DIY Heather. As I said, I've been painting earlier. I do a lot of DIY. I'm very creative woman. I like building things. So that doesn't stop at businesses. That actually, we're actually building an office in our grounds at the moment. And like, that's the thing is I've been out painting this morning. So there's a DIY Heather, a very practical woman. There's a gardening Heather. There is I was going to say a foodie Heather. I do like my food. There's a foodie Heather. There's a mum. My lads now are men. They're grown young men now. But there is a part of me that is still a mother and will remain a mother and and that's that identity. There's the daughter that I am. There's the sister. So we wear a lot of hats in terms of identities. And so this is a very fascinating thing. This again is what I have found to be true. Uh, a long time ago, I played around with jumping timelines. There's a thing out there that you can do where you kind of envisage a future you and you step into her as a future version of yourself, and then you embody those traits and this is part of like persona work that you can do. And I have done this, as I said, for myself and for clients. Here's the thing though, and this is a really important thing about identity work, is that unless you embody it, it won't stick. And it can cause a dissonance as well. So especially if you have a few kind of niggling underlying self-esteem issues or confidence issues, in terms of you will get more of the imposter syndrome. So let's think. I'm going to give you an example now. There's a couple of my businesses actually where this has happened. The one was a very creative business where I was creating fruit bouquets. Now that sounds, I don't know if you've heard of these before, edible arrangements in the United States. I brought the idea back to the UK. I worked with Peter Jones and all the rest of it from Dragon's Den. Anyway, different story for a different time. But the interesting thing I noticed about that business was that it was a particularly creative business. And I don't know, it was one of those things that I used to look at the products that I produced and my beautiful glossy brochures and all of that. And I used to kind of like, it was like, is that me? There was a dissonance in terms of my belief in my creativity and what I could produce. So that was one of them. When I hit my first 100K with one of my businesses, I did it very, very fast and hit 100K in 8 months it was. And that was a very, very fast growth company. And I think it shocked me. It shocked me that I was earning that much money in such a short period of time. And, there was one month that I had 45,000 in sales. And that had literally happened over like that growth trajectory had happened quite slowly over 12 to 18 months. But when it hit that last 8 months and it literally went through the roof, it wobbled my world because my identity hadn't caught up with my income. So this is the interesting thing about identity work is it's really about embodiment and about letting go of these identities that we have. For instance, if you have an underlying identity that you are not worthy of having a very successful business, you will self-sabotage. So you'll get to a point and something will happen and you'll blame it on external circumstances. But 9 times out of 10, if you're really kind of truthful, you'll look back and you'll go, maybe I had something to kind of play on that. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But identity is one of those things. Your identity will never exceed, or your income will never exceed your identity. So if you have an identity of you being someone who is very philanthropic in terms of like charity work, but you want to earn a lot of money, there may be a conflict there in your identity in terms of what you believe to be true. And you might have lots of different beliefs about money to do with your identity. Money and identity are very, very kind of closely linked. Your offers, the identity about your offers. Yeah, this is an interesting thing. You could create loads of different types of offers. If you're in a product business, loads of different types of products. Service business, lots of types of service. If you are not fully aligned with what you are selling, it ain't gonna sell. And in fact, it's a really good test of things to do because it's not always about your marketing. There was a particular product that I developed once years ago, and I hadn't even got business cards for this business. I developed this product, and I thought I'd just test market it. And I went to an event and people were coming up to me and they were like, I was taking orders for this product that hadn't even been, it was literally just a prototype. And the thing is that when you have something like that, that was totally in alignment with an audience and with myself. It was literally, I was running to keep up to sell this product. I've never had that so aligned before. It's incredible. I wish I might go back to that type of business. But do you know, it was like, it was a really easy sell, really easy sell. Um, there are some offers that I've created that I've loved myself. Oh, I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. Everybody's going to want this. And then I put it out there and there's like the tumbleweed thing. Has that happened to you? It's just, it's painful because you like really truly believe that you've got something special. And it's like, why don't people want this? So the identity also to do with your offers and when we look at the persona work, it's quite interesting because we not only play with personas in terms of your identity and your business, but also your offers have personas attached to them as well, so that comes through everything you do in terms of that. And then your brand voice. Brand voice is an interesting one because that is you can take that as the literal in terms of the brand, and you can do it in a very, very kind of factual way in terms of, oh, I like this color scheme and that color scheme, and this is what it represents. And you can look at the archetypes out there and do it that way. Or you can go a lot deeper. And we have a lot of fun with the brands in the persona work because we actually take it one step further and we personify your brand. So imagine your business as a person or an entity, or what would they be, a masculine entity or a feminine entity? What would they look like? How would they act? And then we actually, if you're a more spiritual person, we actually take it up another level so you can actually start communicating with business guides. But that's not for some people. They want to keep it more factual and earthly, and so we kind of do it at whatever level suits you. But we have had some great fun with the brand personas over the years in terms of creating the identities of those so that they are really in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing on this planet right now. Because brands, by the way, change. So you might have a brand persona that was good for you sort of 5 years ago. You might set up a similar business, but that shifts slightly. So they're always worth revisiting. Okay, so that's all to do with identity. Rule 3. Your team aren't mind readers. If you don't give them clear, specific, strategic direction, they'll pull you off course without even realizing it. Leaders have to lead into growth. It is not a committee decision. And this is an interesting one because I've had some people really strongly disagree with this. It's like, no, my team, it's a committee and we discuss things all together and it's like, yeah, great, discuss everything together. But at the end of the day, if you are the founder of a business, you are the leader of a business and your team are your team, but you've got to lead them. They're going to be looking to you for direction. If not, you are abdicating rather than delegating your decision-making power. So this is a classic one. I'm just gonna have a slurp of my drink a moment. Hang on. Thank you. This is an interesting one. I had a client that I worked with, and her business had grown very, very fast, very quickly. She brought on a new team of people to work in her business, and they were very young and enthusiastic, she said. and and they were firing ideas off at her. Oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this social media, we need to do that. No, thank goodness it wasn't in the age of AI. So, I mean, she didn't have that to contend with. She does now, but it was a few years back before AI came on the scene. And she came to me because she was like, my head is spinning. I feel so frustrated. I know where I want to take my business, but I'm just, in that spiral that I described earlier of that kind of lack of clarity, lack of focus, lack of strategic direction, and it had started to knock her confidence and her certainty. And what happened was that her team were coming to her asking for information, and she she really didn't know the answers. She didn't know the right answers because she didn't have a firm grounding in her own direction. And here's the thing, when you are leading a business, so regardless of whether you have a team who you employ on a permanent basis or whether you're outsourcing to other people to create a virtual team, the same thing applies is that this rule of three is that they are not mind readers. And if you're not careful, if you're not really grounded in your strategy of where your business is going and where you want to take it, then they are going to put their creative interpretation on your business. And this is what I call imprinting. It's where well-meaning people either specialists in like social media, marketing, etc., put their creative interpretation on your business, or your team come to you with ideas and creative ideas. Let's do this or that, and they put their creative interpretation on your business too. And what happens? It starts to take it off track, and then eventually you get to the point where you look at your business, and you go, "This looks." I don't know, this looks nothing like the business that I started. And so you might be sitting there now thinking, well, Heather, hang on, don't you tell us what we should be doing? And the answer is no, I don't. I am a business guide. Um, I have a lot of experience in business, as I've just explained, but I do not let you abdicate to me. So I don't do any of this stuff. I guide you to make the right decisions for your business. I help you uncover the best things for your business, you and your business. I help you create a business that is fit for purpose. I help you gain that clarity and that certainty and that direction because it comes from you. And I know that you are stronger than you realize. You are a very competent woman. If you are running a business, then all hail the women on this planet that run businesses because we're doing it almost with one hand tied behind our backs most of the time. And so, from that point of view, what I do is I empower women to stand in their own power. Yeah, empowerment. It's like you've got this, but sometimes we wobble. Sometimes we get taken off track. Sometimes we get distracted. And so I am the person that comes into businesses to stand firm with you, to kind of guide you and then lift you in terms of helping you get to that next level of growth, whatever business that you're doing right now. Rule four. Okay, rule four. Another slurp of my drink. Okay, do you like my massive kind of massive drink thing? Okay, rule four. Your brand, buyers, and offers need to grow with you. If one stays stuck, the whole thing slows down. This is where most people get left behind. At every stage of your growth, you need to revisit and uplevel these areas. Okay, so you cannot create a future version of your business based on what has been in the past, because what in the past that's gone. And this is the thing, is that businesses are businesses grow. They are an entity. They actually evolve and change and grow and expand. And if they don't expand, they contract. And when something starts to contract, it starts to die. And so the energetics within your business constantly need to be up leveling and expanding in growth. And so do you. So the brand that you had even a year ago, if your business has started to expand, it might have outgrown your brand. Your buyers, this is a great one actually, but many people when they look at their buyers, they make the mistake of basing their marketing on their existing customers instead of looking for growth in terms of who are your top 20% of customers that you have, clients that you have, that create most of the wealth in your business. In terms, it's an 80-20 kind of rule, and looking at those and modeling those and attracting more of those people. And then you literally, when you move up to the next level, again, you look at that 20%, the top 20% of that client group that you have, and then you up level again and up level again. And so you're constantly up leveling and changing the dynamics. Your offers as well. Change your buyers, you need to change your offers as well, because it will go out of alignment. So this very much is an alignment process, rule 4, where you're looking at a brand, your buyers and your offers, and you're bringing them together. I talk a lot in the persona work about friendship groups. Friendship groups in terms of, you think of your business, your brand, as a person, and then you look at your buyers, and you have typically more than one type of buyer within your business that would be attracted to a particular product or service or offer that you have. What you do is you set them up as a friendship group, and very much imagine them, if you know, they could be sitting in a coffee shop or a bar somewhere, and they're talking to each other. They're friends, and just like your friendship group that you might have, you're not all the same. You have different interests, you have different hobbies, you have different ways of looking at the world, but there is a commonality thread between you all that links you. So there'll be something that links all of your friends together with you. So, excuse me. So, rule 4 is very much about bringing that alignment together in terms of your friendship group, in terms of brand, buyers, and offers. When you do that, everything starts to up level. Rule 5, you can't outspend a mindset problem. You can throw cash at marketing and sales and teams, but if your mindset is off, nothing will stick. Nothing will work. Nothing lands if you've got the case of the stinky thinking problem. And you know, again, this is a very common thing, is that um oftentimes when they're, you know, I go to businesses, I'm a troubleshooter, and I go in and they bring me in to these larger businesses and say, we've got a problem. The growth is starting to plateau. We think, you know, it's our marketing, blah 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 blah. And I suppose my one of my superpowers is that I can look at a business from a 30,000 foot view and instantly kind of work out where things are out of alignment. And a lot of it is energetic work, business energetics. So it's like, where are the things not sticking? Where are the when we look at marketing in terms of content marketing, it's where's the strongest hook in terms of what people are going to hook onto. Um, the mindset stuff is an interesting one, because much of the time I have to work with the owners on mindset issues that are getting in a way. And we go back to perhaps the identity stuff that I was talking about earlier, is that you, as I said, you can't outspend a mindset problem. So you can have, you know, the best marketing in the world. You could be throwing tons of cash at advertising and all the rest of it, and it could be working beautifully. And then all of a sudden, something happens, you get distracted, your mindset suddenly starts to spiral, and then things stop working the way they did. And so that is why I work with business owners on kind of three levels really, on the marketing, the messaging, and the mindset, and bringing those into alignment so that businesses can thrive and business owners can go on and thrive. So, where in your business at the moment is it a structural problem? Is it a mindset problem? And and it's interesting to look at the energetics. I just want to sort of bring in on this point actually about the fact that I've worked with women who've come to me who are very frustrated and burning out. And a lot of the time it's because they're too much in their head, they're not embodied, and they're too much in the masculine energy of the frameworks and the systems and the processes. And we need to inject some of the feminine energy in there to bring them into more balance again. Likewise, women come to me and they say, I've got this beautiful business that I absolutely adore and I love, and it's very creative and it's just beautiful, and I'm flowing and la 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 flowing. Hey, listen, I can't knock it because I am that floaty person if I don't have the boundaries in place, and I'm highly creative. And so the thing is that often with that is because there aren't the frameworks in place. It's almost like the riverbanks have gone and the river is going everywhere. So very scattered energy, and that's not conducive with income. It's not conducive with income creation. So if you're finding that you're not earning as much as you want in your business, maybe have a look to see where you're out of alignment to do with the masculine and feminine energy. Have you, if you're not earning enough, maybe look at, what frameworks and processes have you got in place to monitor stuff, to actually keep you on track, to keep you focused. And likewise, if you're in a business that you feel completely burnt out with it, then perhaps look and see where you're embodying your business, but also where are you giving yourself the grace of having time for yourself to refresh and have fun and yeah, feel good, do more of what you love. That's it for rule 5. Right, okay. Truth bomb. If you feel stuck, it's not the funnel, it's the foundation. And you already know that. It starts with you. So again, with as humans, we're very good at looking outside ourselves a lot of the time, and there's not much introspection in terms of what we're doing wrong. There's a lot of blame out there in terms of polarity of other people blaming circumstances or other people or whatever. And the thing is that 9 times out of 10, we have to bring it right back in and kind of deal, as I said, with those internal issues that don't often get spoken about because I think people are maybe embarrassed about it. You want to be that kind of the strong business owner that's kind of, running this really great business and whatever. But the truth is, business is not easy. And it has to be something that you're both feet in rather than one foot in one pool and one foot in another. And it's about looking at your entire business as an ecosystem rather than just little pieces. Again, this is a common problem when it comes to growth in a business, or lack of growth, is the fact that excuse me, people are very scattered in terms of their energy and their attention and what they're doing. So, okay, so there we go. So what I've got here is that if any of this has resonated with you, I do offer 55-minute sort of growth strategy sessions. This presentation is actually on LinkedIn. On all of my social media, you can actually click through. There's a link which has got all my offers on them, Instagram as well. You can go onto there. These are a really good way of coming into my world, the 55-minute growth strategy sessions. We actually you're sent a questionnaire beforehand so I can get to know a little bit about what's going on. So we've got really good use of the time. And then in that 55 minutes, we're actually looking, I'm diagnosing in your business what's really going on. And then you have a plan. At the end of the 55 minutes, you actually have a growth strategy plan. So it's not a sales call, it is a strategy session with me. And as I said, it's a very good way of coming into my world so that I can know more about your business and you can work with me on that level. The price for that is 555 for a 55-minute strategy call. So anyway, there we go. So hope you enjoyed that. As I said, we've covered quite a bit today. The clarity, the certainty, the confidence levels, the identity, the fact that you need the right identity for growth. Your team, they're not mind readers. If you haven't got the strategy in place, they're not going to follow it and they're going to put their interpretation on your business. Brand buyers and offers, they need to all be in alignment for growth. And the most important one, I think, is the mindset. You cannot outspend a stinky thinking mindset. So there we go. I hope you have enjoyed that today. And I'm going to come back now. Thank you for joining me. I noticed see if there's any questions in the chat at the moment. So Sarah's asking, what how do we know when how do we know when it's the right time to revisit our brand personas again? Okay, so great question. So, as I said, your business will evolve. When you are changing your business in any way, when you are evolving your business, when you want to up level and reach your next scaling milestone, that's when you need to look at your brand again. If you're introducing new offers, products, services, when anything changes or shifts in your business quite substantially, you do need to revisit your brand. And sometimes it's not just one brand that comes in, brand persona comes in. I have four brand personas that actually I work with in my business. I'm very greedy. I can't just deal with one. But no, they are the four personas that I have are the leadership personas, and they are the leaders, the leader mindsets that you need in business to actually have a fully formed, very successful business to grow. And so I bring those personas in for not only working with clients, but in my own business. And so but those personas they didn't they're four now. I'm pointing down here actually because I've got photographs of them all. They didn't start off as four. They started my first one was Freya, and she came in about 9 years ago, Freya, and then the other ones came in, but bit by bit, and then I got to the point where I don't know what on earth I'm trying to make sense of all of this. Why have I got four? And then it all unfolded, and I talk more about this in my book, The Persona Effect. If you haven't grabbed it, you can go onto Amazon and it's 20 quid. The reason it's 20 quid is it is a heavyweight. I've got a copy of it actually. Hang on a minute, I'll show you. It's a heavyweight manual. Oops, here we go. It's a heavyweight manual. It is not a little tiny book that you put on your bookshelf. Look, here we go. It is, I mean, you can put it on a bookshelf. Just put it on a bookshelf. It is a heavyweight book and manual to keep on your desk, and it works all the way through the personas and persona marketing method. So every part of your business, from your offers to your buyers to your brand to your communications. And I've also thrown in a little bit of AI in there, because not how to use AI, but how you protect your business whilst working with AI. It is the book that you'd wish that you'd read if you've started dabbling in AI. You'll find that probably it's taking your business off track a little bit if you're not careful in terms of your brand voice and everything to do with your business. So this is the persona effect. It is 20 quid on Amazon. It is worth it because you will work through that book. I've designed it so you can put it on your desk and work through it bit by bit by bit, and improve all your marketing and up leveling growth. Anyway, I don't think there's any other. Right, okay. There's another question, Kerry. Heather, do you know what could you recommend in terms of when we hit a low in our business in terms of mindset? Are there any suggestions that you've got? Okay, so yes, in business, great question. In business, we will hit lows. It is a fallacy to think that business is completely rosy in the garden and that there are no problems and everything's fantastic. And in fact, you can be sucked into that illusion on social media where you see all these influencers and that, oh my God, they're looking so trim and their hair is so beautiful and they get, it's like it's complete, it's not me. It's not me. I have to work really hard to look good and polished. This is me. I'm more comfortable in like jeans and a t-shirt. The thing is that I've lost my track now. The thing is, in business, we do sometimes it can get real rough. It's like a sea. Sometimes it's really calm, and then the waves start crashing, and we can sometimes be in the middle of a storm. What would I suggest in terms of mindset? Okay, so this is the irony about mindset work is that the times that you really need it are the times where you will kind of repel, or you will what's the word? I can't think of the word. Rebel. I knew it was an R word. You will rebel against it. But they are the times when you actually need it the most. There was a time where I spiraled quite deep into a depression. It was after my dad died, and I kind of, yeah, it was a very dark place. And it would have been so easy just to stay there and kind of wallow for a long time. In fact, I did wallow, I did wallow for perhaps longer than I should have done. But one of the things that got me out of that dark place was knowing that I had to be very gentle with myself, but again, very firm in terms of I knew what worked because I'd seen it as evidence in the people that I'd worked with, the clients that I'd worked with, but also I knew for a fact that when I was really on it, these things were keeping me very buoyant in terms of things that were coming in right, left, and centre in my business. I was far able to cope with them when I had this stuff in my corner than I could when I didn't have it in my corner. And this is the thing when you start to slide in business in terms of mindset, one of the things that will happen is that you start putting other things or other people before you in terms of, your appearance and everything really. You just it's a not a nice place to be in, and I have been in 30 odd years. I have been there a few times, and it's not nice at all. Thankfully I've been able to crawl out of it. And so, okay, so what do I do? The first thing I do is I go and revisit very powerful guided visualizations. Joe Dispenza is the person that is my go-to in terms of he's got some very powerful meditations out there, but that's my personal choice. What I would suggest, go find yourself. You can go to YouTube and find them. Go find yourself a very powerful meditation that you can do. The one that I do, the Joe Dispenza one, the reason I love it is because it allows me to get into a very relaxed, deep meditation. But then at the end of it, he just lets the music play. And so I remain and can hold that space for about another 20 minutes. And it's in that 20 minutes at the end of the meditation that I'm able to play in my imagination with different things. And my vibe rises, the thing that I spoke about earlier, my vibration sort of rises. So I will do that. Then I will journal immediately after it to actually get down on paper what realizations I've had. What has come through to me. And then the other thing that I recommend to all my clients and recommend, to yourself as well, is get yourself a playlist of happiness. Go to Spotify if you've got it, or just get music from wherever you get it from, but create a happy music track or tracks. I have several. I have one which is, listen to every morning, every morning. Yeah. And it is high vibe, happy music, the type of music that you cannot stop yourself moving to or dancing. And, I find for me personally, one of the quickest ways that I can up my vibe and feel better about myself and about life and whatever's going on is to actually put some really great music on. The stuff that I dance where nobody's watching and I can dance like a loony around this room here, or up in my kitchen. Or it's like literally it's feel good music because there is a resonance to do with music. which is very, very powerful. That might not be your thing. You might go, well, actually, Heather, I've had some clients that go, well, I'm not really into the dancing and the music, Heather, but I do like walking. It's like brilliant, walk more. It is the pure thing of do more of what you love. So if you are finding yourself in a bit of a kind of stinky thinking mindset, one of the things is said is so visualization, meditation, visualizations, journaling, and happy music. In fact, one of my clients, she was so impressed with doing this work and having a higher vibe in her life and her business, with her income going up and everything, that she actually started introducing this like routine, morning routine to her staff, and they started getting far more productive, and it was a happier, nicer environment in work. So don't knock this stuff. That routine that I've just explained for you, the meditation, the journaling, and the dancing, that is what I learned from the 7 and 8 figure earners in America where I was networking with, and all of them without fail, excuse me, all of them without fail were doing this to keep their vibe high. And and when you're earning that type of money, and talking of money, my income always goes up when I dance. And you'd think I'd be dancing all the time. But this is human nature for you. It's like, why don't I do this? Sometimes we know this stuff and we just don't do it. But my income shoots up if I dance on a regular basis. And so there's something in it in terms of raising your vibration, in terms of your business and your income. Anyway, so I think that's all the questions. Thank you so much for joining me today live. If you're watching this on yes, the recorded version of this. Thank you for tuning in. If you do want daily kind of Heather kind of vibe in terms of little downloads and activations that I can send you, I do have a very special Telegram channel, which is, I think it's $22 at the moment to join. And it's called Reignite Daily. If you want more details of it, just reach out to me. $22, and you get the lifetime value at the moment. It will be increasing at the end of, what are we now? With July now. At the end of July, I think it's going up, and then it will go up again and go, so it's going up in price because it is, well, it's me every single day in your ear for about sort of 10 minutes to quarter of an hour, if that, but very short kind of downloads in terms of tips and tricks that you can use in your business for growth and expansion, and just reigniting that passion and that energy in your business for further growth. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Any questions? If you're watching this I can't get my words out today. The recorded version. If you're watching this on replay, that's the word. Thank you, Kerry. Just put it in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, you can stick the questions underneath this video. If you're watching this in the group, you can put that under there. Right. Anyway, I'm off now because I'm rambling. Have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.